So I have a few things to say about people right now. So these are my thoughts right now concerning people and concerning racial dynamics and everything. So I'm gonna tell you the God's honest truth. Right about now, every ethnic group is getting on my freaking nerves. Or maybe I should clarify, both black people and white people are getting on my last nerves. I don't have nothing against the other groups because I don't know where the other, like most of the other groups are immigrants. And so they have their own ethnic stuff and their own stuff from their homeland and different teachings um, that they have, which some of them I don't care too much for because they're highly chauvinistic. Okay. Now, I personally am not accepting any more negativity from men. I can't do it no more. I'm sick of the divest crowd. I already have a policy that if a YouTuber or any other person is in my face and they always got a bunch of negativity to say about black women, I don't listen to their stuff. So one of the reasons why you can't get me to listen to nobody's Kevin Samuels is because number one, I all I had to hear was a couple times. Well, I gave black women two chances. Okay, two marriages and two divorces. So that tells me that you can't get along with nobody. Okay? The divestors are getting on my last nerves. And they're getting on my last nerves because I don't, those of you who fetishize white people, and to be perfectly honest with you, this is kind of all people of color. Everywhere where white people have colonized, they have managed to, the people are suffering from issues with colorism, classism. You have men in each of these dynamics that'll take a fat, homely white woman over a beautiful black woman any day because of the whole power dynamic. Okay, so both are starting to work my last nerves. Okay, I'm tired of black people who sell other black people out trying to impress people who are never going to be impressed with you. If a person needs you to damage other people in order for them to be impressed with you, they're already not impressed. I've had to deal with a denomination that uses the same rhetoric that black people use against each other all the time. Well, you're only doing that because you're trying to escape enough and blah, 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 blah. I wish you would be black enough. Now, the reason why I still continue to listen to some of the divestors on YouTube is because they not completely wrong when they criticize black men. Okay, you got two going on here. You got the women who will put black men so far up on it. Can't nobody talk to them and tell them, you know what, brother, you got a few little things that's wrong with your thinking. Then you got the other ones that can't nobody black do nothing for them at all. And then you got the people like me that still believe in black love, but you're so tired of, I'm sick and tired of black men who have black women categorized a certain way, and then you look up their past, and they're the main reason why these black women were crazy. Okay, you're the main reason why black women are the way they are and doing the things that they're doing because of you and your stupidity. Because you don't know how to love nobody because you don't love yourself. Okay? Now, I did a blog post a while back and I talked about the fact that I hate the phrase love yourself and I hate her evil sister. I can't even remember. I hate the phrase love yourself because people misuse it. They apply it to situations that this does not apply. If a group of men are getting together and misusing women and making it okay to misuse women, don't tell women they don't love themselves. Check your male friends. I am sick to death of black women mammying anybody. If you know that he's wrong and he has wrong intentions toward a woman and she is saying no, don't get in her face and act like she's being stuck up and picky because she doesn't want some raggedy ass fill in the blank messing her over. Now, I had to leave a denomination because um, the sexual misconduct in that denomination was so horrible. I'm not even in a church right now because they're affecting everything. The city of Columbus is so fucking corrupt spiritually, so it isn't even safe to go to a church. And I mean all colors. The beautiful thing about when you befriend people that are different ethnicities is that you recognize when it's happening no matter where it is. You got black folks, well, maybe you need to go to a white church. Why don't you quit? And this is another thing. Why do you have white people up on so high of a pedestal? White people are people. And as somebody who's had over 30 years of customer service, I'm here to tell you people of all colors get on my fucking nerves. So to my enemies, you lose. Because I'm not quitting a damn thing that I have planned to do. Now you could study slavery, and most of what we're dealing with in the black community is stuff like, why are you running to the very people who are responsible for most of the crap that we're doing to each other to begin with? Why are you running to the oppressor? I remember looking at one blogger, Cynthia G, and she talked about how the white man put his woman up there so high that you got black men chasing ugly white women and swearing they getting a better deal. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's all white worship. I think some of it is survival sex because there are more black men in the black community living off of a woman than there are women like that. Gold dig? How you gonna gold dig with these mugs that ain't got no money? Okay. And I get sick and tired of the attitude that trying to do something positive. No, I don't wish to be white. That anything that you do with your life that's positive means you want to be white. It is time for us as a community to grow up. I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm going live tonight to celebrate New Year's Eve because I still want to honor. I still want to honor Kango Kid and a few of the people that I wanted to honor. I just got news on my phone. The notifications are lighting up like crazy. So, a woman in kind of comedy, a legend, has lost her life just a little bit before her 100th birthday. So Betty White, of the Golden Girls, and Mary Tyler Moore, um, Mama's Family. Let me see. I think her latest show was, I forget what the latest show was. Something about Cleveland because I didn't get a chance to watch it. But the last surviving Golden Girls has passed, so now they're all gone. So now some of you might be younger and be and wondering like, why are we making such a big deal out of this old person? Well, if you've done any research on something like I'm a history buff. So I like delving into music history. I like delving into the background of certain things, of all things. So when I was doing eclectic weekends every Friday night, you remember I used to go into the background of different musical trends and everything. And I like knowing how things start, how things get their start. I like knowing how certain things that we do today, where that came from. So Miss White is a legend. She's a legend in the comedy game. It's funny because I was looking at Russian and how she made her forays into the world of jazz. Do you realize that just about everything out here was male dominated at one point, and that women have had to fight and claw their way through most of everything because men dominated the whole thing? And do you realize that there are many art forms now that, even though they seem white dominated, they actually had their roots in the black community? Jazz is one of those art forms, rock and roll is another one, hip hop is another one. There are so many different art forms that were birthed in this country that had major roots in black music. And a lot of people don't realize jazz is one of them. But now when you listen, it's almost like, well, you see all these white people in there, but at one point, and especially like rock and roll, okay? So I'm always interested in looking at the history of something. So to me, Betty White. Betty White was kind of like sitcom royalty, if you will. She in the years that she was alive, she was attached to quite a few very successful sitcoms. I look at some of the older ones that I see, like the Golden Girls, but also Mary Tyler Moore. So she played Sue Ann, I think, on Mary Tyler Moore. I remember when I was a little kid seeing her on there. And then I saw her make a few appearances on Carol Burnett's Mama's Family, playing I think one like the more successful sister or whatever between her and Eunice. Um, then of course she wound up on the Golden Girls where she played Rose, and her comedic timing was awesome. She was an awesome person to watch, especially as Rose. So she will, even though I'm like, 99 is pretty much almost one foot in the grave when you measure how we measure age anymore. At one point in the Bible, people, they were saying people were living almost 1,000 years. Like they were living a long time, and then God put a cap on how long we were living. I'm like, so it's just it's once again, my thought is always, I hope they knew Christ before they left here. When I think about the stuff that the church is fussing with each other over about, and these men of God are not building God's kingdom. They're not even doing God's will. The amount of pastors that are out here fornicating would shock you. I don't follow men of God that don't follow God, and if they're not following God with their penis, if they're not following God with their penis, they're not following God. Okay. I have been really really frustrated with the amount of men who twist their own spiritual teachings, and it's not just Christianity. One of the negative things that I'm not putting up accepting out of men anymore is twisting teachings and lying on God to get pussy. Okay, at what point do you start calling men on their BS? I've been calling men on their BS since I stepped outside of my mother. Just about. So I've heard all the labels. Oh, you're a B. Oh, you're a butch. Oh, you're disagreeable. Oh, you're uppity. You know, uppity is a special name for black girls who don't know their place, depending on what white man you're talking to and what place they think you're supposed to have. Okay, so I have heard every lie that a man, no matter what color they are, say to women who don't want to play the role that some man is assigning to them. Okay, oh, you don't want to be a prostitute, so you're stuck up and uppity and you think you're white and this, that, and the other. No, I have respect for myself. You think you're too good. We trying to fix you up with some old guy that batters women, but oh, you think you're too good. Well, you know I am. Yeah, I'm saying it right here on live for everybody to hear. I am too good. I'm too good to have anybody running a train on me. I'm too good to be dragged into prostitution. I'm too good to have a denomination trying to pass me around the different ones of they darn pastors. Yeah, I am too good. And I'm gonna continue to say I'm too good. So anyway, so today I wanted to go ahead and touch base because I didn't want to go real long without uploading or without talking. And I have this to say. Adam's Rib Media Ministry lives on. Okay? I'm not killing it. My blogs live on. If anything, I don't really like to do New Year's Eve resolutions because by the time you get around to February, most of the stuff that you swore up and down you're gonna do, you be back in front of the TV eating chips. Okay. Um, I would say since we're going into 2022. So for me, 2020 was 2020 vision. And I said 2020 vision because 2020 vision is basically the ability to see without any glasses. You're not having to have bifocals. You know, you're not nearsighted, you're not farsighted. You pretty much have perfect vision. Now, by the time the year was over with, I felt like we were in one of those boutiques where you see the fat mirrors. I was like, well, clarity, yeah, we having some serious clarity. I'm like, I felt like this year has almost been like the fat mirrors that they show you in your favorite boutique. Where just when you thought you lost that 20 pounds, you looked up and the 20 pounds was on your other hip. Okay, or the 50 pounds that you thought you lost, and then you get in that mirror and that mirror shows you where that 50 pounds is. Okay, between the coronavirus and all of the financial difficulty where we are not as a society and how we don't take care of our less and less fortunate. I personally am not a fan of people, people talk about, black people using the word bougie. So let me tell you what the background of bougie is. It's actually bourgeoisie or whatever. And it's really a word we borrowed from our European American former captors, fellow human beings. Okay? And it's really a very classist term. Now, I ain't a fan of using the word because I've seen too many people called bougie and called whatever because dare to do something positive with their life. They go to school, they're in a good earning job, they're taking good care of their kids. They're not living in the ghetto. Now, is there anything wrong with living in the ghetto? There really isn't. There really isn't. However, I remember I was thinking about that this morning. When people talk about, you have people who hate on people who decide to live in areas that may be predominantly white. There's this one program. I'm trying to remember, was it on Amazon, where it was kind of a thing of, it was called Them or something like that, or They or something like that. And it was a tiny bit of a ripoff of Jordan Peele's Us. Okay. Now, I have kind of been there for the movies that reflect on racism, from the horror genre. And I get down with it. I rocks with it, and I'll tell you why. If you could hear some of these stories of how different black people have been murdered and tortured, racism is scary. I don't care what nobody say. You can be falsely brave if you want to, but racism is scary. When you think about the one black man that was dragged behind somebody's truck simply for being the wrong color based on the perceptions of the white guys who dragged him. Okay, when you think about the Emmett Till story, the last, to think about the fact um, that these people's last moments were full of pain and torture. Okay, racism is a horror story. If you've ever had somebody threaten you or make you feel afraid just because you're the wrong color, and call that mess fun. Okay, now think about being a woman and have a bunch of guys, all for the fun of it, all for the fun of it. Okay, um, they ain't meaning no harm. Have you looked at some of their victims after they get done with them? You can't tell me you don't mean no harm. So anyway, in this, as I was watching this mini series, one of the things that really got me was all this woman did was try to move into a nicer neighborhood. Unfortunately, all white, and she just wanted a place to live that, the streets is clean, different stuff like that. Now she went to go visit some relatives that she and her husband had in town, and so they were like, I don't know why you wanted to live over there anyway. like most black people get when I don't want to say they put themselves in that situation. But man, I'm like, shoot, people microaggress are almost safer now doing it. But that I knew that moved into some of these areas. And anytime you got a lawyer up just to move somewhere, there's something wrong. And it's actually pretty good and everything. I suspect. Why, if I can find the name of it by this tonight, I'll bring it out. But there's so many things that really, most horror, if I'm a scary movie person. I'm a horror enthusiast. I love horror movies. I really do. I've loved horror movies ever since I was a kid. Now, I'm not a serial killer. I'm not running around harming children. I'm not doing anything crazy to other human beings because of that influence. I usually wind up needing about 6 months worth of comedies, after I've watched anything that's really, really scary. I'll watch it, I'll go, and then all of a sudden get I'll get that one movie that scares the bejesus out of me. Then I have to do 6 months of comedies just to be cool again. But people don't understand how much, how scary life can be. Okay. And then to have to turn around and deal with some of the stuff some of these people put you through. Like, I'm convinced, I know why people need Christ. People keep acting like, heck no, you can't make it into heaven on your own. The only people that I'm going to be jealous of is the people who can get into heaven by their works alone. Why? Because none of you can. Are you kidding? When I think about, here lately, especially what I've been looking at in a lot of men, the ability for some men to put on a suit, the ability for some men to completely terrorize some woman's life, then put on a suit and act like they just didn't do nothing. A sin and grin. I had a pastor once that said that men know how to. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that because toward you. And I will explain that. I will explain that power dynamic maybe tonight, girl, because there's too many men out here, and it really is to fake out us ladies. It's to make you feel as though they're all powerful. Satan loves to think he's all powerful, but he's not. Anyway, I'm almost around the corner from the Queen Mother, so I will talk to you guys tonight on Station Head. So I will be going live from Station Head to do my, and to welcome in the new year. So annual New Year's celebration. Hopefully, some things I'm believing for this year will come to pass. And so I will talk to you guys later. You all have a good one. Be at peace. And one other thing, the positive things that you are believing in life, believe that it's going to happen. Now, don't pray for nobody to fall into prostitution. And believe it or not, the Holy Spirit doesn't have a no snitch rule. Whoever I'm talking to knows who I'm talking to. Okay? I'm talking about positive goals. One of my positive goals is to eventually become a full-time job for me, and I no longer have to work another job to generate income. Another one is for my blogs, because I have 7 of them, because I have 7 blogs because they all reflect different things that I love. I love to sing and to continue to have another successful year of abstinence until I meet my Boaz and I marry him. Okay, so I'm talking about to get back into a PhD program, to get back into school and get my PhD finished so I can have that under my belt. Okay, I don't use nothing that I do to harm anybody. So I'm talking about, please don't, if you're a person that's praying for harm to happen to other people, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about people who have goals that they want to achieve that don't involve them having to stab nobody in the back to get it done. I'm over people betraying other people to get what they want. Anyway, so I will see you guys tonight. For those that you are planning on going out for the new year, party responsibly. Omicron is still a thing. Okay. Personally, I wonder if they're going to still do Rocket Eve tonight, because I'm trying to remember, did they cancel it last year? One of the years that they decided not to do Times Square. I know that everybody is like really skirmish and don't really want to have to go back into quarantine because it's hard. It's hard being in the house. Like I'm a tiny bit of a homebody, but it's like I find other ways to communicate with people, like the internet and different other stuff. But it's not really a substitute for spending time with your loved ones and being with the people that you care about and everything. And we need to really watch out for our older loved ones because these particular things are not showing us no love. Here comes the Queen Mother. So I will talk to you guys later. Later. Peace out.